All right, ATP Finals. We've got an update for you from the pointy end of the round robin stage. Jannik Sinner is perfect. He's through. He's won all three of his matches, beating Daniil Medvedev today. We're going to break down that match, look at the stats a little bit later on. And Alcaraz will be playing Zverev tomorrow to settle the results for the other group. Can Alcaraz survive? He's got the nose strip. Will he be feeling better? We're going to break down that matchup, preview, and go through all the scenarios of what can happen, even if Ruud beats Rublev or vice versa, and Zverev or Alcaraz win. We're going to break it all down because that's what we do here on the Slice presented by Betway. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the show. I'm Stephen Boughton, your host. If you are new to the Slice, welcome. Please subscribe. That helps us out. And please give a shout out to Betway, our presenting sponsor. I picked on Betway. You can follow me on the Betway feed link below. Sinner to win his group, and that has turned out to be true. So it's one of the few I've picked right. But if you want to see some picks and tips, head over to the Betway feed. And if you want to watch the ATP Finals, and you're like streaming illegally, doing whatever, can't find it, only watching highlights on YouTube, get in the game, use Tennis TV. That's right, the Tennis TV is also a sponsor of the show, and the link below will take you to their program. You can watch live matches on there in perfect definition. You can watch instant replays. You can watch the full matches once they're done up there and highlights. They have an amazing platform that you can use. I literally cannot imagine being a tennis player or fan without them. So shout out to Tennis TV. Treat yourself this Christmas to a Tennis TV subscription, link below, and shout out to them for supporting the show. All right. So what's the slice? The slice is that Jannik Sinner's through. As we talked about, he is clearly, I think, the best player right now, and he's the man to beat in Turin. And he beat Medvedev today, and Medvedev has had an interesting tournament, right? He's had the interviews where he's kind of said that he's not really enjoying being out there. He's not seeing it as a job, but he kind of just doesn't feel like he can win like he used to with these balls. So he's kind of just saying to himself, well, if I lose, I go home. That's great. If I win, I keep staying. I'm continuing on. That's great. So probably not a great place to be for Medvedev coming in to play the world number one in Jannik Sinner, and he did lose today, 6-3, 6-4, but it was closer than the score might look. It wasn't, and it was not super long match, but Medvedev did have a little bit of a window in that second set. So we're going to talk about that when we're going to look at the scenarios between Alcaraz and Zverev, and we're going to take a look at the recent head-to-head on the different surfaces and what it means. So to me, that is all very interesting. And let's first get into the results so far. So this is our first video after the tournament started. So let's go back to the start of the tournament. Day one, Sinner beat de Minaur 6-3, 6-4. That's a score that he has liked this tournament. And Taylor Fritz upset Daniil Medvedev 6-4, 6-3. So that kind of put Daniil in the spiral, got him depressed. You know, it happens. Monday, Zverev beats Rublev. Not a huge surprise there. But Casper Ruud takes out an ill with the cold Carlos Alcaraz in a pretty shocking upset. That was Casper Ruud had only won 2 matches since the U.S. Open before that one. So that was a shock, to say the least, even with Alcaraz being sick. But putting some respect on Casper Ruud's name. If a guy's sick, he's good enough to be there. He's good enough to be in the ATP Finals. He's probably going to get that win. Yesterday, or actually 2 days ago, Jannik Sinner beat Taylor Fritz 6-4, 6-4. And Daniil Medvedev stepped it up and beat de Minaur 6-2, 6-4. So no real epics so far. I will say they've all been straight sets until Taylor Fritz de Minaur today. Then on Wednesday, Zverev beat Ruud 7-6, 6-3, and Carlos Alcaraz played the flu match, as I called it. He came out still sick, had the air strips, the nose strips on himself, and he took out Rublev in a great match and an inspired performance from him. He said, "I didn't entertain the crowd when I was sick." So he came out and he tried to do that, and he did it. Beats Andrei Rublev, essentially kept his hopes alive there at the ATP Finals. And then Sinner beats Daniil Medvedev today, and Fritz takes out de Minaur. So we'll look at the group standings after this, but let's get into the Sinner-Medvedev match. So 6-3, 6-4, hour and 13 minutes. You might think pretty simple, pretty clean. The story coming into this obviously is what can Medvedev do to hurt Sinner? We've talked about it all year at the Australian Open. Since then, they've played so many times, and Medvedev's kind of run out of things to do on a quick hard court that he feel like he can beat Sinner with. Although he did beat him at Wimbledon this year, that was a great win for him. He seems to have less belief in these shorter hard court matches, and yeah, today wasn't a great start for Daniil. Let's break it down by set. So in the first set here, you can see Daniil had a 256 serve rating, only won 75% of his first serve points, whereas Sinner won 100% of his. So that's not great. And then Sinner was able to win 5 out of the 8 points on Daniil's second serve and break him once, and that's the set. But Daniil didn't play a great set at all. 4 winners, 16 unforced errors. How often do you see a set of tennis from Daniil Medvedev where he makes 16 unforced errors? So that was maybe solid from Sinner and a pretty bad set from Medvedev. Does Medvedev lock in on the second set? He did a bit. His serving percentage didn't really change, but Sinner's came back down to earth, I would say, and it was a bit more even. Sinner did go up a break, but then Daniil Medvedev broke back. And then you're thinking, okay, is he back? Is he believing? But I think he consolidated, Sinner held, and then Sinner broke and then served it out. So it was still, Sinner's just so good right now, so confident. But it was a better second set from Daniil, but he still made 12 unforced errors, but he hit 13 winners. So if you're looking at the whole match, as far as the stats go, the 28 unforced errors is pretty crazy from Daniil Medvedev in a 2-set match. It wasn't even the most clean match from Sinner. He had more unforced errors than winners, but Daniil maybe didn't play good, maybe felt the moment, maybe felt the pressure, and wasn't able to play a performance that he would have hoped to, I don't think. Let's look at these points. This will be interesting to me. So 0-4 shot rallies, Sinner won those points. That's not super shocking, I wouldn't say. But then the longer the rally goes, Sinner also does better. 5-8 shot points, 12 points for Sinner, 6 for Medvedev. And then the longer rallies, they actually almost split. But yeah, it's really a feeling of running out of things to do if you're Medvedev against a Sinner. He seems just like a guy who's got the same types of characteristics that Medvedev has, but can do things better. Hits a bigger, heavier forehand. As Medvedev's kind of complained about with these balls, Sinner and Alcaraz seem to be the only guys in his perspective. I would argue, obviously, Zverev's doing a great job of this. The only guy that can hit through the balls and generate enough pace to be different. It seemed like in these rallies between Medvedev and Sinner, the ball from Medvedev's racket just kind of sits out in front of Sinner, and it gives him an extra split second to just pound it. And he did that, and he looked very ominous out there. He did get broken in the second set, but just looked to his team, kind of didn't react to it, and kind of locked back in, was able to be solid. So yeah, that is that. And if we go to the group standings here, which you should now see on your screen, Fritz and Sinner are going to move past through. So Fritz qualifies for the semifinals, and Medvedev and de Minaur are out. Pretty crazy, I think, Medvedev not winning or getting to the semifinals, but it hasn't been his year. 0 titles. It's been a bit of a frustrating year for Daniil Medvedev, although he has had good results in general, but he's not able to qualify or get out of the round robin stage at the ATP Finals. In the John Newcomb group, they still have 2 matches to play. Zverev has won both of his. Alcaraz and Ruud have both won one, dropped one, and Rublev is searching for his win. But what's interesting here, so we got Zverev, Alcaraz tomorrow, and we're going to talk about that. But the scenarios here are interesting. So I looked at this. The Nino ATP Finals website has great scenarios here. The one that stuck out to me, is see if I can find it, is if Alcaraz beats Zverev, but Ruud beats Rublev, there's still a chance that Alcaraz could not make it, of course, because Ruud would have won 2, Alcaraz would have won 2, but Ruud beat Alcaraz. What matters? Well, it seems like it comes down to percentage of games won. So you'll see on the scores there that the set percentage of sets won shows, and then percentage of games won shows. So it's not who beat who. So if Alcaraz beats Zverev and Ruud wins, then they'll both be 2-1. But it's going to come down to percentage of games won, which will be pretty interesting. So it'll matter, and the scoring the way that it is set up, it really matters how the guys win tomorrow. For example, if Alcaraz defeats Zverev in 2 sets and Ruud defeats Rublev in 3, then Alcaraz wins the group and Zverev qualifies. So Ruud could win tomorrow in 3 and still be out, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. One other thing there is if Alcaraz beats, vice versa for Alcaraz. So if he beats Zverev in 3 and Ruud wins in 2, very likely scenario. Although Rublev could definitely beat Ruud, it's not like that's not a given at all. And I would, in fact, actually expect Rublev to beat Ruud. Then Alcaraz would be out and Ruud and Zverev would get in. But if they both win in 3, so if Alcaraz defeats Zverev in 3 and Ruud beats Rublev in 3, they both win in 3, then Zverev and Ruud are 3. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, and it really depends how tomorrow goes. So obviously Alcaraz's goal is going to be to win in 2 sets, and Ruud's going to have to do his best to beat Rublev. But Alcaraz does, it seems, kind of control his own destiny there. If Alcaraz, if they both win in 2 sets, then it goes to games 1. But so it's tight. But I do think Rublev is going to have a really good chance against Ruud and probably be the favorite there, actually. So in a way, Alcaraz mostly determines his own destiny, but it's going to be tough. So here's the thing. Look at this. If we're talking about Zverev, Alcaraz, year-to-date win to loss, Zverev's won 66 matches. Alcaraz has won 52. Zverev's the number 2 player in the world. Alcaraz is the number 3. But Alcaraz has won 2 majors this year. Zverev has obviously won 0. But if you look at the last 4 matches they've played, this is where it gets interesting and I think matters with the court surface. Alcaraz has won the last 2, and they were at Roland Garros and they were at Indian Wells, which is a slow outdoor hard court. Earlier this year at the Australian Open, Zverev beat Alcaraz on a faster Australian outdoor court. And last year at this tournament, Zverev beat Carlos Alcaraz in the round robin on these courts. So it's clear that Alcaraz does not enjoy the quick indoor hard courts as much as he does other courts. And Zverev plays great on them. He just won Bercy, and he's won the last 2 times they played on quicker hard courts. So how is that going to influence their match tomorrow? Well, Zverev's serve is going to be a big factor, and how Alcaraz is feeling is going to be a big factor, obviously. I saw from Mike James at Moratoglu Academy, he pointed out the fact that in their last meeting, I believe in the last hardcourt meeting, maybe last year at the ATP Finals, Zverev would target Alcaraz's forehand when he was serving. So he felt like the Alcaraz forehand could falter a little bit more on the return. That could be the case, or he could just feel more comfortable going to that side. He did say that's on the ad side, so that's up the tee. That could just be a serve. A lot of these guys, if you're serving their first serve, they're just trying to hit an ace. They're not really trying to, put it into one guy's side or the other. They're just trying to bang a clean ace. But is Alcaraz weaker or more exposed on the forehand side of the return? Keep an eye on that tomorrow as they play. Keep an eye on how far back from the baseline Zverev stays. Will he let Alcaraz be aggressive and come forward, and will he stay back and keep the ball high and deep? Who knows? Or will he try and hit through the court, come forward? But really, it's just a great match. This is we haven't had an epic match really so far. That means a lot so far in this tournament, and this could be the one. Zverev versus Alcaraz. Obviously, Alcaraz wants to get into the semifinals, and they both could, depending on how the score goes. So maybe they'll collude a little bit. Obviously, they won't. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So that's kind of all I got for a preview. I actually like Zverev. If I had to bet $1 on Betway, I would put that on Zverev just based on the way he's playing, his confidence, and the way that Alcaraz hasn't been physically fit this week. Still might be sick. And even if they're healthy, I could see Zverev winning this. still because of the courts, because of the history on them. And yeah, that's my pick. So interesting. We're going to see. We'll have another video for you once the semifinals are set, and we'll preview those. But until then, thanks for watching The Slice. Thanks for being here. And may the best man win. Peace.